Yadi is officially back with the team. The Cardinals take a reliever in the Rule 5 draft. Scott Boras has some interesting words about his client, Tyler O'Neill, and the Cardinals. Plus, the Juan Soto trade finally happens. This is Locked On Cardinals.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily St. Louis Cardinals podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, Cardinal fans. I'm JD Hafford, and I'm a national radio sports anchor, born and raised in the Lou and a lifetime Cardinals fan, and I'm your host for Locked On Cardinals, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Follow me on Twitter X at JD Sports Radio. You can follow the podcast at LO_Cardinals. I want to thank those of you who make Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts, and we're also on YouTube. If you haven't found us there yet, come on by, like, subscribe, comment, interact with us. Hit the notification button so you know when the new episodes are posted. This is a show serving Cardinal Nation and giving the best fans in baseball all of the info about the birds on the bat. So the MLB winter meetings have wrapped up, and they've kind of been a dud. I'll be honest with you. I mean, we were expecting a whole lot more than what we got. You're going to hear a lot of complaining from people about Shohei Ohtani holding things up. And that's why you didn't see a lot of action over the last few days. But we got nothing on him. We still have no answers, although we're told that something should probably be announced in the next few days. Yamamoto still fielding his offers, meeting with teams, yada, yada. Nothing on Blake Snell or Cody Bellinger. Finally, late on Wednesday night, we got the Juan Soto trade to the Yankees. I'll get into that a little bit later on in segment number 3 when we go through our news and notes from around the league, because there's a couple of deals that I want to talk about a little bit there. But as far as what has gone on with the Cardinals over the last couple of days, not much. They got their heavy lifting done before the meetings ever took place. Outside of that, it's been pretty quiet for them, as it has been for a lot of teams. It's not like the Cardinals are the only ones that are kind of sitting around twiddling their thumbs. A lot of other teams didn't get a lot done over the last few days. Just been a lot of meetings, and unfortunately, not the excitement we were hoping for at the MLB winter meetings. But that's okay. There's still plenty of offseason to go. The team did make a little bit of noise today. It did become official that Yadier Molina is returning to the team next season as the special assistant to the president of baseball operations. And I cannot tell you how much that reminds me of The Office. You know, when Dwight, I don't know if you're a fan of The Office or not, but if you've ever watched it, you know, he always wanted to be the assistant to the assistant regional general manager or something like that. That's the first thing I thought of when I heard the title come out, special assistant to the president of baseball operations. But it's an official title. We knew it wasn't going to be an everyday role for Yadi because of his commitments back home in Puerto Rico. John Denton at MLB.com confirmed that from Mo again today, saying that when talks began about Molina reuniting with the club following one season of retirement, the Cardinals sought to hire him as a full-time assistant coach. When Molina indicated that family concerns would not allow him to devote that much time, the talk shifted to him serving in more of an advisory role. However, he will be in uniform and working from the dugout at times during the season. And I'm not going to say that John Mozeliak listens to this podcast on a daily basis. I have no idea if he's ever tuned in. But when I read his quote today about Yadi, I had to chuckle a little bit because I said almost the exact same phrase in yesterday's episode. The quote from Mo, "A little Yadi is still better than no Yadi." I mean, come on. He took the words right out of my mouth from yesterday's episode, didn't he? Always room for you to stop on by, Mo, if you want to jump on the podcast at any point. Anyways, more from Mo on Yadi. He's going to be a Red Jacket Cardinals Hall of Famer, a Major League Hall of Famer, and he's an icon for the Cardinals. He's going to be a resource for manager Ollie Marmol, and he's going to spend time at the minor league level. It's not going to be catching specific, but that will be his forte. But if he can help pitchers or even spend time with coaches and share his wisdom, that's the point of this. Now, Denton says specifically that the Cardinals want Molina to work with big league catchers Wilson Contreras and Ivan Herrera, who struggled at times with adapting to the expectations that the team has for its catchers in terms of game planning and pregame prep work. Contreras and Yadi also spoke during the season when Contreras encountered the troubles with the framing numbers and the pitching calling sequences with the team's pitching staff. So that none of that is really new news to us. My dad used to always say that it isn't always easy for guys who were really good at something, specifically in sports, to teach and to coach at the highest levels, because sometimes just natural ability, it's unteachable. It's unteachable. Some of these guys can just go out and do it. It's just a gift. Michael Jordan, can he teach people to be clutch and be like him, how he was on the court? Can Barry Sanders, go out and teach someone to do the things that he did on a football field? Not really. And Mo acknowledged something similar to that when he spoke with the media today, saying that about Yadi in this type of situation, that I don't know if his skill is an easy thing to teach because it was so innate with him and he did it so naturally. But he was a guy that studied and did a lot of work to get to where he was. Just learning about his work habits and how he approached things will be a big help for a lot of people. And I think that's going to be the big thing here, helping these guys prepare for their jobs as a catcher in the Cardinals organization. Clearly, it was done differently in Chicago than in St. Louis for what Contreras was used to, because there were issues, clearly. Teaching Wilson and Ivan how to build their game plan for different teams and different lineups, how to get in sync with their pitchers so that they don't have the issues that we saw them go through early on in 2023 into 2024. And also remember, they've got 3 new veteran guys coming in. I mean, Len is still new, even though he's been here before. Contreras and Herrera will get a chance to get reacquainted with some new pitchers, some veterans, not younger guys, some veteran guys. Len, Michaelis, Matz, they've all thrown to Yadi in the past before, so they know what to expect here. And I'm sure Sonny Gray and Kyle Gibson have a way that they like to do things, but now that the growing pains, if you will, of being a Cardinals catcher are over for Wilson Contreras, we can move on to 2024, and who better to show them how to do it than the master himself, Yadier Molina. So this is great. I love that Yadi will be around to help Herrera specifically. Him and Wilson, probably they're going to be fine. But I love the fact that Ivan Herrera is going to get to learn from Yadi face to face, because he is the future of the team behind the plate. And I know Contreras has still got, 4 more years left on his contract, but he probably is not going to be a full-time catcher during the duration of that deal. You kind of saw it last year where they're like, we kind of like you as a DH a little bit. You heard about moving to the outfield, which I've also heard was not total BS, that is something that they have actually considered still doing, that he might sprinkle in a little outfield from time to time. And yes, Yadi still wants to be a manager. We know that. And at some point, who knows? He could be the next Cardinals manager someday. But for now, this is all he could actually commit to. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Again, whatever you can get out of Yadi, you're going to cherish. And you're going to be pretty thankful that his mind and his energy is going to come back into the Cardinals. I don't want to say every day interactions with things, but he's going to be around and he's going to have a presence. I love this. I'm glad they could agree to terms on it all, and that Yadi will be back sometimes behind the scenes, sometimes in the dugout. I think Yadi gets tossed from a game in 2024 as a coach at some point, even in like this limited dugout role, because we don't know how many games he's going to actually be in uniform wearing that number 4 jersey that I have behind me. I don't know how many games he's actually going to be at and in the uniform, but he's probably going to get tossed, right, at some point. Like, it would be weird if he didn't. Anyway, let me know about your thoughts on Yadi officially becoming a member of the team again. Let me know about that down below, or hit me up on Twitter X. We can discuss your thoughts on it. Rule 5 draft was today. The Cardinals did make some selections. I'm going to talk about the first round pick that they made. That's the most important one. So I'll introduce you to the guy the Cardinals snagged there. Plus, what did Scott Boras have to say about the Cardinals trying to trade Tyler O'Neill? That's all coming up on Locked On Cardinals. Now, I know we come to sports to escape from the crazy world around us, from the reality of things happening all over the world and in your own backyard. Real life is not easy, but for just a moment here, let's talk about preparing for tough situations, because they happen, whether we like it or not. We get put in a bind from time to time, and you got to figure out the best way to get out of that. So whether you're on extended travel, whether you're bracing for a major weather event, or limited by yet another supply shortage, because they constantly happen, you guys are covered. You're covered. Thanks to our partners at Jase Medical. Life-saving antibiotics and a long list of daily medications can be ordered in a 1-year supply with Jase Medical. They've got a thing that they call the Jase case. If you're not familiar with that, we've talked about it on this show before. The Jase case is a pack of 5 different antibiotics to treat a long list of bacterial illnesses, including UTIs, respiratory infections, skin infections. There's all kinds of stuff out there that can affect your well-being. And that's what the Jase case is for, to help you be prepared for when something not cool happens. You know, it could happen to any of us. Visit jasemedical.com, complete the physician encounter that they have available there. That'll get reviewed by a board-certified physician, and your medications will then get dispensed by a licensed pharmacy at a fraction of the regular cost. So we're going to save you money. We're going to get the stuff that you need, and you're going to do it all through Jase Medical. It's never been more important to be prepared than today. So go to jasemedical.com. Use the offer code Locked On. You can save more money that way. Get $20 off your order. That's jasemedical.com, Jase medical.com. Offer code is Locked On, LOCKEDON, in case you weren't aware of how to spell it, and get $20 off your order at jasemedical.com. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows, which cover every league. So go to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube and subscribe to the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. And again, thank you for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. You can leave comments on YouTube as well as on Twitter X anytime you want. Feedback always welcome and encouraged. I am always available to you guys to reach out on Twitter X. And obviously, I come into the YouTube channel and down in the comments and, chit chat back and forth. We'll do a little interaction with you. Let's talk about the Rule 5 draft, which took place today. If you remember last year, the Cardinals did make a selection. They grabbed right-handed relief pitcher Wilking Rodriguez from the Yankees roster in 2022. They had high hopes for him in spring training. They were excited about bringing him over, and then he got hurt, and he was virtually useless to them for the entire season, which was kind of a bummer. They were hoping that he was going to have a role in the bullpen last year. He's not like some kid, which is usually the people that get drafted in the Rule 5 draft, usually, I don't know, like mid-20s, something like that. They're guys that just haven't reached the major league level yet, but they're in that certain age where they probably should be there by now. And it's a way to give these guys an opportunity to actually get to the major leagues in case they've been blocked at other places. Wilking Rodriguez in his mid-30s, he's 34, I believe. So he was hurt all year. They release him, and then they sent him to a minor league contract a couple of weeks ago. So he'll be a non-roster invitee to camp in the spring. But today, the Cardinals selected another pitcher in the Rule 5 draft from the AL East. They went back. This time they went to the Boston Red Sox roster, and they grabbed 25-year-old right-handed reliever Ryan Fernandez. And I'm going to put a picture of him up on YouTube. There he is on the YouTube page. As you can see, solid mustache, or lip sweater, as we call it in the hockey world. I would grade it probably, I don't know, if we're grading on a 1 to 5, with 5 being the best, I'm going to give him like a 3. It's a little thin looking there, but I've seen other photos of him like on the diamond and in action, and it looks thicker. So maybe he bumps it up a little bit. I don't know. But drafted by Boston 2018 in 23rd round, I believe. Has steadily made his way up the ladder through their organization. He's got a 17-10 career record in the minors with a 3.33 ERA, 252 to 60 strikeout to walk ratio. That's pretty good. 238 batting average against, 1.19 whip in 216 innings for the Red Sox affiliates. Strikeouts per 9 in his career, 10.5. Very nice, right? He was really good at Double-A this past season, where in 14 appearances, he was 2-1, had a 1.77 ERA, 26 strikeouts in 20 and a third innings. Got the call up to play for AAA Worcester this last season. I think that's how they say that. And things did not go great at AAA. 26 appearances, ERA 6.16, whip 1.565. He was very hittable at the AAA level, which was quite different from what he did at AA. 35 punchies in 30 and a third innings, but obviously not the way he was hoping for his season to go after he got promoted. He's not a big guy, listed at 6 feet, 170. Scouting report at MLB Pipeline says this about him. Fernandez can touch 99 miles per hour with his fastball and typically sits 96, 97, but the pitch doesn't play to its velocity due to lack of impressive movement. AAA batter slugged 594 off the heater alone, so that'll be a focus of improvement in his shot with the Cardinals. He throws a pair of hard breaking balls in an upper 80s slider and low 90s cutter, though the two can bleed into one another. The ferocity makes them a pair of potential plus pitches and helps drive Fernandez's whiffs. He can also show the occasional curveball, but lacks a changeup, which hurt him against left-handers. While walks were up across AAA, the righty actually kept his free passes in check with a 7.2% walk rate. Despite turning 26 next June, Fernandez is still more about his raw materials than results, giving St. Louis officials hope they could mold him and his arsenal into a major league reliever who specializes in facing right-handers in 2024 and beyond. So that's what we know about Ryan Fernandez. Strikeouts seem to be his thing, which, you know, obviously you want the swing and miss. Cardinals need bullpen help. Makes sense to give him a try, right? Now, in case you are unfamiliar with the Rule 5 draft, here's what happens. So the teams can pick a player, then they got to pay him $100,000 not to him, but to the club that they took him from, okay? Rule 5 draft picks are then assigned directly to the drafting club's 26-man roster and must be placed on outright waivers in order to be removed from the 26-man roster in the subsequent season. Now, should the player clear waivers, he must be offered back to his previous team for $50,000 and can be outrighted to the minors only if his original club does not wish to reacquire him. A Rule 5 draft pick can be placed on the Major League injured list, like Wilking Rodriguez was, but he must be active for a minimum of 90 days to avoid being subject to aforementioned roster restrictions in the next campaign. So clubs may trade a player selected in the Rule 5 draft. That can happen, but the same restrictions apply to the player's new organization. However, a club may also work out a trade with the Rule 5 pick's original club to acquire his full rights, thereby allowing him to be optioned to the minors under traditional circumstances. So basically all that mumbo jumbo says that the Cardinals will have to keep Fernandez on the roster or risk losing him back to the Red Sox. That's what all of that means, really. So say hello to possibly a new bullpen piece for your St. Louis Cardinals. There you go. Another good thing about the Rule 5 draft that took place today was the Cardinals didn't lose anybody. There was some risk. Ian Bedell, a guy that we've had on the podcast, guy that seems to have a nice, bright future, but he's 24 years old already and was at A-ball in Peoria this year, although he was good, but he was coming off injury and whatnot, and he was available, but luckily nobody took him. So still with the Cardinals, and hopefully we'll see Ian get moved up AA, maybe even AAA this year. Heck, who knows? Maybe you'll see him in the pros. Who knows? One player who we do not think will be around with the Cardinals next year is going to be outfielder Tyler O'Neill. Katie Wu with The Athletic wrote that the organization's top priority remains finding a trade partner for Tyler O'Neill, and that's according to multiple industry sources. Once the team can find a suitable offer, it will again shift to acquire relief pitching as its top priority. So what's the holdup? Well, according to Katie, it's waiting on the big dominoes to fall still. It's kind of why the winter meetings were a bit of a dud. Shohei Ohtani, where's he going to go? How's that going to affect the market? The Juan Soto deal, which got done late on Wednesday night, was something people were waiting on as well. She says the Cardinals are anxious to move O'Neill as it would help clear up roster space and allow the organization better clarity as to how to approach the relief pitching market. Now, Tyler O'Neill's agent is Scott Boras. And every year at the winter meeting, Scott Boras stands up in front of all the media and fields questions because he is the super agent. So he did that today, and he was asked about the O'Neill situation, to which he responded, well, Tyler O'Neill is 8th in the MVP voting, 30-plus home runs, won 2 Gold Gloves. You know, the talent evaluation of the Cardinals, it's nice to know that they have players that reach higher levels than that, I guess. I don't know. Kind of a subtle jab there at the Cardinals moving on from Randy Arozarena and Adolis Garcia, I think. I think that's what he was doing there. And that's not really it's not the talent that is the problem with Tyler O'Neill. It's his lack of availability. That is the problem with Tyler O'Neill as far as what kind of player he is on the baseball field, on the diamond. Boras is spitting out things here that happened 2 seasons ago, man. In the past 2 years since the MVP votes, 168 games. That's how many he's appeared in. Hit 229. 310 on base percentage, 397 slugging. That sucks. 23 home runs, 79 RBIs. In my opinion, it just appears that both sides are ready to move on from each other. How that takes place and when it takes place, that's still up in the air. That's something that we still got to get figured out. So hopefully something will get done sooner rather than later, because the longer we wait, the more we're just going to be like, dude, what is happening? And we're all going to get burnt out on talking about Tyler O'Neill getting traded. Problem is, because of those crappy numbers, nobody's really all that interested in grabbing him for 1 year before he becomes a free agent. So speaking of Scott Boras, his client, Juan Soto, finally got traded tonight. I'll get you the details on that deal, plus other news from around the league, including Eduardo Rodriguez, Craig Kimbrell, and the Cincinnati Reds reportedly making a late signing. We'll talk about all of that on Locked On Cardinals. Once again, Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. You're going to go to Locked On Sports today on YouTube and subscribe and be a part of the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. So the rumors of Juan Soto to the Yankees have been going on, I don't know, forever, it seems like. Finally, the trade went down, and it's got a lot of names involved in it. So bear with me as I recite everything that has happened with this deal between the Padres and the Yankees. Soto will go to New York, along with outfielder Trent Grisham, in exchange for 5 players. Right-handers Michael King, Drew Thorpe, Johnny Brito, and Randy Vasquez, plus catcher Kyle, oh boy, this is a doozy, Higashioka? Kyle Higashioka? Hopefully I nailed that. MLB Pipeline ranks Thorpe as the number 99 prospect in their overall top 100 list, while Vasquez was the Yankees' 13th ranked prospect. A lot of names. Michael King obviously was pretty darn good in multiple roles for the Yankees last year as a reliever and as a starter. It doesn't seem like a ton to give up, but you got to remember Soto is going to be a free agent after this year. And it kind of felt like Soto had a down year in San Diego. I know he wasn't great when he got traded there from the Nationals the previous year. And then this year, it felt like he had a down year. But you look at the numbers, no, he was a very good year. 275, 410 on base, 519 slugging, 158 OPS plus in 162 games, 35 dingers, 32 doubles, 1 triple. Not the fastest guy in the world. 109 RBIs. 3-time All-Star, 4-time Silver Slugger winner, led the majors in walks this year with 132, sixth in the NL MVP race. The guy is a monster, and he's only 25 years old, but going to be a free agent at the end of the season. Not going to be cheap. Turned down a 15-year, $440 million proposal from the Nationals back in the summer of 2022. And I'm sure the Yankees will try to, sign him and will throw a ton of money at him. But his agent is Scott Boras. And what does Scott Boras do with his clients? Free agency. Go to free agency. Jordan Montgomery, client of Scott Boras. And no extension was reached with the Cardinals before the season started. Nothing during the season. Went to free agency. Now we don't know where Jordan Montgomery is going to land. Could be the Rangers. I know the Cardinals had shown some interest. Boras talked about that today. The Cardinals had shown some interest and were interested in bringing him back. Jordan Montgomery does not have anything against that. But now that they got Sonny Gray and Len and Gibson, I don't see them signing another big starter. And I'm starting to feel like they're not going to trade for any other starters either. I think it's all going to be relief pitching from here on out. I was looking at the Yankees lineup too. So with Soto in it, and I forget who posted. I think it might have been MLB.com, but they had Soto batting second and Judge batting third. And that's like, wow, those two back-to-back, pretty awesome if Judge can stay healthy. But then it's I was kind of like, I don't know about the rest of it. You got Rizzo batting cleanup in that lineup, whatever's left of them. Whatever you got left in Giancarlo Stanton, he gets hurt all the time. They traded for Alex Verdugo, who's a good player. DJ LeMahieu batting leadoff. He's coming off a down year. Just a lot of questions in that lineup still. But they're still probably chasing Yamamoto. So maybe they make that signing. That's something that could happen. I don't know. I don't think they're in on Shohei Ohtani anymore. But the Yankees, I don't know. I'm just not blown away, even with adding Juan Soto. I'm just not blown away by what they got. Other free agent signings today. Left-handed starter Eduardo Rodriguez, a guy we've talked about on this podcast before, somebody that maybe the Cardinals had interest in. He's moving on, heading to the desert after signing with the Arizona Diamondbacks on a reported 4-year, $80 million deal that also may have a vesting option for a fifth to bring the total to $99 million. 30 years old. He made 26 starts last year, 3.30 ERA, 3.66 FIP across 152 and 2/3 innings of work. Struck out 23% of batters faced against a walk rate of just 7.7%, which is very, very good. And he was off to an amazing start last year, an amazing start. He had a 2.13 ERA with Detroit, 25.5% strikeout rate across his first 11 starts, and then injury. Suffered a ruptured pulley tendon in his finger at the end of May. That wound up sidelining him for all of June. And he just never really was the same after he came back. He had some moments where he was good, especially down the stretch, but it took a while. Adam Wainwright actually had that same injury back in 2008, and it sidelined him for 10 weeks. So it's not like some little thing. Like, it's a no-joke injury on your pitching hand, on your fingers. Like, screwing around with that stuff, that's tough. So it remains to be seen if Eduardo Rodriguez is the guy you saw in the first half or the first 11 starts of this past year with the Tigers, or is he the injury-prone pitcher that he's kind of been his entire career? The deal actually edged out Sonny Gray's total guarantee with the Cardinals by $5 million, although Sonny's contract comes in with a substantially higher AAV. He'll be joining Zach Gallen, Merrill Kelly as the top three arms in that Arizona rotation that just went to the World Series. So I don't think it's a terrible signing for Arizona. I just never was in love with Eduardo Rodriguez, so I'm kind of glad the Cardinals. I wanted Sonny Gray, and I'm glad they got Sonny Gray. Craig Kimbrell on the move again. This time heading to the Baltimore Orioles. 1-year deal, club option for 2025. The right-hander will earn $12 million in 24. 25 option is worth $13 million or a $1 million buyout. Baltimore had been in the market for a closer because, unfortunately, their amazing closer, Felix Bautista, who was the 2023 Mariano Rivera Award winner in the American League, will miss the entire 24 season after undergoing Tommy John surgery in October. So, barring some wild Aaron Rodgers type of surgery that we don't know about to get him back in the lineup next year. He's probably not going to pitch in 24. So the Orioles, obviously a very good team still, ready to compete again for a title in the American League East. Needed a closer, and Kimbrel, it's a nice fit. I dig it. 14-year big league veteran, ranks 8th in the AL NL history with 417 career saves. He's been a reliever of the year award winner in both leagues, coming off a 2023 season with the Phillies, 3.26 ERA, 23 saves and 71 appearances. He has those up and down moments, like in the playoffs. He wasn't the same guy as he was during the regular season, and he was not their closer at the end for them. This will be the 8th team that Kimbrel has played for. Braves, Padres, Red Sox, Cubs, White Sox, Dodgers, Phillies, and now the Orioles. So I like the fit, though. And the Orioles needed him, and they had the money to spend. And finally, another late signing, not confirmed by the team just yet, but at least I haven't seen it. But right before I hit the record button on this, the Reds and free agent infielder Jeimer Candelario have apparently come to an agreement on a deal. He played with the Nationals and the Cubs last year. Got traded to the Cubs around the trade deadline. Switch hitter, batted .251, 22 home runs, 70 RBIs, OPS plus of 119. The big news on this one, which he sounds like a nice piece for, he's a very Cincinnati Red type of signing, but does this spell the end of Jonathan India with the Cincinnati Reds? Because they got all these infielders and they just signed another one. So somebody's either got to go to the outfield or somebody's getting shipped out. Something's happening. So we'll wait to see. I know Cardinals fans will not miss Jonathan India in the Reds lineup if he does end up being the odd man out, because he just seemed like he murdered the Cardinals every time he played against them. So will not miss having to face Jonathan India if he ends up leaving the division. But we don't know yet. We'll have to wait and see. All right, wrapping it up. Thanks for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. If you haven't already, please give us a follow on Twitter at @LO_Cardinals and at JD Sports Radio. Like, subscribe on YouTube, help our channel, and love for the Cardinals grow. You guys are the best fans in baseball for a reason, and I will see you next time on Locked On Cardinals.